Yeah, and if you ever want to know if a man is right for you, ask him to read you a book out loud. Welcome back to episode 2 of Cookbook Roulette. I'm so excited to have you here, and let's get this started. Today's book is Baking for Two, the 200 plus small batch recipes from lazy bakes to layer cakes from America's Test Kitchen. So excited to give this one a try. I got this just a little while ago and I've kind of rummaged through the pages, but I have not chosen anything yet. So I'm really hoping we don't get something complicated today. I'm kind of not in the mood for anything hard and I really don't want to have to go to the store. So let's see. Starting off the day, we're gonna skip coffee, go straight in with champagne, forget it. All right, first page that has a recipe on it is going to be 28. Last page with a recipe on it is going to be 343. Alexa, pick a number between 28 and 343.
Here's a number between 28 and 343. It's 295.
295. Oh, we're in like the food category, so we're not actually going to be baking anything today. 295 is what she said, right? 83, 93. Okay. Not exactly a finished product here, but we're gonna turn it into one. Recipe for brioche hamburger buns. Now, so if you're new here, these are the rules to Cookbook Roulette. We have to make what this lands on. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. We make it, we try it, we rate it. 1 to 10 on taste, 1 to 5 on ease of cooking, and would I make it again, yes or no? So this will give you a good insight on what my opinions are, how I feel about it, and if I think you can do it too. So, welcome back, family. So technically, this is going to be our second time making this because the first time we recorded it, my yeast was not active, so I essentially made hockey pucks, and don't worry, I understand it's all part of the process. I would have included that footage, however, I accidentally recorded it all in slow motion. So, I will remake it, and we won't cheat, and we won't do another page. We're going to make the same thing we were supposed to have made. It will just be our second time doing it, so unfortunately, it may be a little bit easier, but the first time we had a blast, and it was pretty easy as well. So, I'll give you all the same talking points. I will talk about where I think I messed up in the first video, and that never made it out, and I'll also talk about some of my favorite things that I learned already while restarting this process. So, welcome back, PK Foodies. I'm so happy to have you here again, and let's go ahead and get this show on the road. You already know what we're making. We are making these brioche hamburger buns. I have all my ingredients laid out. I have my water and my coffee. Unfortunately, it is a Sunday, so we are not starting with champagne. We should be, but we are not. Why this recipe works, we are going to read this yet again. If you frequently find yourself with more buns than burgers due to standard package sizes, give this small batch of brioche burger buns a go. They're the quintessential bun, perfectly glossy and amber colored with a soft, feathery interior that is just rich enough. And guess what, people? I can read. I was obsessed with popcorn reading. Yeah, and if you ever want to know if a man is right for you, ask him to read you a book out loud. Yeah, okay. So to support the additions of butter to the dough and encourage the buns to rise tall, we use bread flour to create a strong gluten network. Letting the dough rest before adding the sugar and salt also helps the flour fully hydrate, a necessary step for maximum gluten formation. Simply cupping and rolling portions of the risen dough against the counter pulls the dough into taut balls that, when pressed with the bottom of a measuring cup, bake to the perfect size hamburger bun. An equal weight of all-purpose flour can be substituted for bread flour, but the buns won't be as tall. Okay, so one of the things that we talked about previously that we loved about this cookbook was the fact that the why this recipe works section is so quintessential for understanding why recipes act the way that they act, right? And it also gives you alternatives if you don't have all of the ingredients that are required, which is also a super great way to learn to be innovative with recipes and cooking and doing things on your own, because you'll know that in the back of your head you can substitute milk with lemon juice instead of buttermilk and bread flour instead of all-purpose flour, but given that they won't be as tall. So we're gonna start with our stand mixer, and we are going to add our water, egg, and mix with our dough hook for just a little while. So let's do it. Because there's just something about having dogs that always makes you want to make sure everything is clean before you use it to then clean it again. Okay, so we've got our dough hook on here. We're gonna mix our flour, our yeast in the bowl of our stand mixer, then add our water and our unbeaten egg. So let's do that. Thank goodness. All right, so now we're gonna go in with our unbeaten egg, and then we are just going to go at low speed for about 2 minutes. All right, I will tell you, I just misread that and I've already messed it up. So this says whisk flour and yeast together in a bowl of a stand mixer, then add water and unbeaten egg. Then fit with the dough hook. I started with the dough hook. I put in the flour and the yeast and then the water, and then I let that mix for 2 minutes, and then I added the egg. I think it's fine. So I am gonna turn this off and scrape the bottom here and just make sure that we've got all of our particles going. Okay, so one of the mistakes that we made the first time around was that I put way more than the amount of water that I was supposed to have put in, and I got really nervous and really scared because the dough was so wet and sticky the entire time we were working with it. And this dough, as you can see, is very dry and scraggly, and so we are already at a very different place than where we were in the beginning. So this wants me to let this rest for about 15 minutes. I'm just gonna work this with my hand a little bit just to see if we can get some more of this flour mixed into our dough, just a little bit better than our dough hook is doing. And then we're going to let this rest for 15 minutes. So this is the ball we have working right now. And so I'm just going to set a 15-minute timer and let this go for 15 minutes. It wants us to rest this for 15 minutes. So I'm going to take a towel here and I'm going to just drape it over the top of this just to keep some, like, I don't know. I think that works to keep like the moisture in. I could be lying and I could be wrong, but I feel like it works, so that's what we're gonna do. And then we're gonna reset and we are going to clean up a little bit. And then I'll see you back in 15 minutes. All right, so we are back. It has been 15 minutes. Our dough looks very good. Oh my goodness. So our dough looks a little scraggly, it looks a little bouncy, but it's definitely way less dense than it was last time. I believe that's because the yeast is activated. Yes, yes. Okay, so now we are going to add our sugar and salt and knead on medium speed until incorporated, about 2 minutes. Increase speed to medium, and with mixer running, add butter 1 piece at a time, allowing each piece to incorporate before adding the next one. About 3 minutes total. scraping down the bowl and dough hook is needed. Okay, so this is where things got crazy last time, because there was so much water and there was so much moisture that the more butter I added, the more sticky everything became. And even after I let it knead for about 15 minutes to really develop the gluten, it would not pull apart from the side. So I was adding more flour, and I just think things just didn't work. Alrighty. Are you ready? Let's do this. Okay. So add our sugar and salt, knead on medium, low speed until incorporated. So we're gonna pop that bad boy back up and add our sugar and our salt. All right, let's get this working. You're very bouncy here, people. Very, very bouncy. So we're just gonna go in and scrape this down. We're gonna get all of this butter off the sides. So our next step is to let this knead for about 15 minutes. So we're gonna let this go. Continue to knead on medium speed until dough is elastic and pulls away cleanly from the sides of the bowl, about 15 minutes. So we definitely have like a lot of butter here on the sides that hasn't really been incorporated. So we're really gonna scrape off our dough hook here and get this off here. There we go. There we go. So this has allowed this to go for about 15 minutes. So we're gonna set a 15-minute timer and we will see you shortly. So this dough does not want to move off the bottom here. It is elasticy. It's definitely not pulling away from anything though. So I don't know what's going on. I'm going to go in here with about a teaspoon of bread flour and just see if I can get that to pull away from the sides a little bit. I don't want to add too much, but let me see if I can possibly get it up underneath here and doing something else. There we go. There we go. We're gonna scrape down the sides one more time and then we're gonna let this do its thing. So this says, transfer dough to a greased large bowl or container, cover tightly with plastic wrap, let it rise until doubled in volume, 1 to 1.5 hours. Now here is where I knew I fucked up last time, because nothing was pillowy, nothing was airy. I just had a big old dense ball of dough. And after the first rise is where I should have known that my yeast wasn't any good. Instead, I let it rise 3 more times before I said, that's not rising. So anyway, learned our lesson on that one. I'm gonna take a glove and we're gonna get this into this bowl. I'm gonna spray my hand a little bit, crank this bad boy down. Now, this is light, it's pillowy, it's airy, it's mushy, it's soft, and definitely all around different than where we were beforehand. So, we're gonna cover this with plastic wrap. And I don't think I need to spray my plastic wrap. I don't think it's gonna rise that much. But if it does, I'd be very happy. But I don't think it's gonna rise that much. But we're gonna cover this tightly. And we're gonna let it rise until it's doubled in volume about an hour. So, Alexa, set a 1 hour timer.
1 hour, starting now.
Sorry if I just made yours do that. It has been 1 hour and we've got some steam forming here, so we really know that our dough is looking good. Let's just check and see. Definitely. Okay, so we definitely have some risage. This is gonna be so good. So we're gonna take this, and our next step is to line a rimmed baking sheet with parchment paper. So let's do that. All right, so we have our rimmed baking sheet with parchment paper. We're gonna transfer our clean dough to our clean counter, which we just cleaned. And I'm gonna put gloves on as usual. You guys know I don't like the feeling of things on my hands. So we do go through a lot of gloves in this house, but unfortunately it is what it is. So we had an issue with the last time around was that it was way too cold in here. So this is definitely way better than what we had before. I already know, like, we're doing much better. So transfer dough to clean counter and cut into rough 4-inch and pat into rough 4-inch square. Fours here. All right, now cut the dough, keep remaining pieces covered, working with 1 piece of dough at a time. So we're gonna go like a dish and go like a that. Okay. And then it says place ball seam side, form into rough ball by stretching dough around your thumb and pinching edges together so that the top is smooth. And so what I kind of learned that this means is this motion here, and you're kind of just creating these little balls, it seems. And then it says, using your cupped hand, drag in small circles until, place seam side down on the counter, drag in small circles until dough feels taut and round. And so this is really what they mean by doing that. All right. So now our seam is pretty much closed up here. Now we're gonna take this and place them on our sheet. We're gonna do that again. It really does not scare me in the way that baking some other things might. And I think it kind of goes because, like, bread is one of those things where you just, like, throw some butter on it, put it in the toaster, and I'm sure you can get through a loaf even if you mess it up, you know? But, like, baking is like, if that thing is dense, if that thing is dry, if that thing is rock solid, nobody wants that. So where's my seam? There it is. Seam side down. There we go. There we go. And our last one here. Oh. All right, so next thing is using the greased bottom of a dry measuring cup, press dough balls to 3-inch diameter, about 3/4 inch thick. Okay, so I'm going to space these kind of like this. Then we're going to get our spray, and we're just going to take this and
wipe it down a little bit, and then just gonna push that down. Wipe it down, push that, push that down. And then this is 3 inch in diameter. And what's really great is that this dough cutter that I have here has the inches on it. And so I just want to, yeah, that's great. So I just want to measure these. This one could use a little bit more. And I think this one can too. And I might actually need to go to a bit bigger of a baking sheet. So let's just pull these onto a new pan here. Give them just a little bit more room on that parchment paper there. And spray this last one on. And you can see that they're springing back, which means, I don't know, I think that means something good, that they're like glutinous enough or whatever. Anyway, stick wrap. And so we're gonna recover them again. And we're just gonna go like this. Now, for this rise, I'm going to let them rise in the oven because something told me last time that it was far too cold in here for them to rise correctly. So I am going to put it in a warm place, which is naturally the oven, and let them rise there. Looks like we're rising for another hour. So we're gonna take these and we're gonna put these in the oven. So while those rise, let me tell you some of my favorite things about this cookbook thus far. One of my favorite things about this book thus far is the fact that they give you very specific instructions. You know exactly what it should look like, how thick it should be, the exact time it takes in between rising, kneading, adding other ingredients. And so it rings in at a very beginner-friendly recipe. Now, baking bread, I wouldn't say is not beginner, but you have to pay attention to what your dough is telling you. If it's too soft, if it's too wet, if it's too dry, if it's not rising enough, if it's too cold, if it's too warm. So you really have to pay attention to what it's telling you, and then that really makes all the difference there. So this is definitely ringing in at something that is showing me it's very beginner friendly to be able to suggest, especially for friends who are single or just 2 people in their homes, or even friends with children, that this book can really be something that is beneficial and useful, to say the least useful. So we're gonna let that go for 1 more hour and then we will bake it. Yeah, so we have 1 more hour and then we'll bake, and we'll see you then. All right, party people, it is time. So these bad boys did a really good job of rising, and I will tell you, this is nothing like the last ones looked. So I am very hopeful for this. I'm very excited that these will come out very well. I don't know that they rose as much as they should have, because everything keeps saying like doubled in volume, doubled in volume. They rose, but I wouldn't call anything doubled in volume. So so are we still up in the air about this recipe? Absolutely. Because I don't know if it worked. So we are going to get these done. Get our sesame seeds. It's really the Krabby Patty formula, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna get these into the oven for about 20 minutes, BRB. I'm telling y'all, the last time I made these, they came out this big. Hello?
Now come here. Come here, come here, come here.
Hello? Are we or are we not the same person right now?
How exciting was today? Okay. Should I go ahead and just sacrifice one? If there's one thing I think we figured out, that Krabby Patties are on brioche bread. Look at how fluffy and soft and beautiful these are. I can't wait to toast one. Oh, I can't wait to toast one of these up and put a burger on that baby. Look at the steam coming off that. And you know all we need is a taste test, so let's do it. We're gonna take some butter. We're just gonna smother that bad boy. Shut up. Guys. I don't think that I could ever have a store-bought hamburger bun in this house again. Oh my God. Guys, what the hell are you on? So you guys know what time it is. Foodies, I am going to rate this 10 out of 10 on taste, okay? The only thing that would have made this any better would be just a little flaky salt on the top of these buns, but that is it. I can't imagine the texture with an actual burger on it. As long as you have yeast that is active, we are going to go with 4 out of 5 on the ease of cooking. The only reason I'm giving it a 4 is because it does take time. So if you don't have time, then yes, it's not gonna be great. It's not gonna be super easy, but if you have 2 or 3 hours to just let this rise, easy money. Would I make it again? I plan to make it every single time we have burgers. Now that I've done it correctly, you can't beat this. You can't. A store-bought burger bun is not gonna beat this. And so I absolutely do plan to make it again. Therefore, thank you guys so much for joining me on another episode of Cookbook Roulette. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys on the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye.